Hey YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul and welcome to another video. Today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how I prep my sessions to get ready for a vocal recording session with a vocalist. Whether I be recording in the studio or in my home studio with my computer, the steps will be the same and you're going to see why what we do really matters in the long run. So let's get straight to it. Right here we got the Kodak Black ZZ remake session we put together a couple weeks back. Has a quick arrangement. And the first thing that we need to do is label or name each track. So let's go ahead and do just that. So that's our steel drum. Now, if you want to jump from track to track, just hit tab on your keyboard and you can get typing away. Saves you time from clicking just like that. All right, this will be our clap. This is our hi-hat. This is our percussion. This is our snare, this is our shaker, this is our 808, and this is our synth lead. Now I remember this from our remake, so I know what each track is, but you'll probably have to listen through your tracks and label them accordingly. All right, the next step we want to do is take our cycle range and drag it the full length of the arrangement, just like that. Now, the way I like to work is every step in the process of music making is a separate session. So my recording session is one, my mixing is another, my vocal recording is another, my arrangement, my mastering, and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do right here is create a stemmed out version of this arrangement. We're going to export all the individual tracks and then import that into an entirely new session, whether it be Logic on my computer or let's say Pro Tools in a studio. So we're going to go ahead and select File, Export, all tracks as audio files. And we're going to save it in the same folder the session is saved in. We'll put it under Bounces. We'll create a new folder. I like to usually call it Stems, or actually the track name. I like to include the tempo as well. So I have it in case I need to import that into a Pro Tools session in the studio. And that's pretty much it. So let's create the folder. For our settings over here, we're going to leave the range to export cycle range, what we set here, this yellow bar. The format will be set to wave and the bit depth will be 24 bits. Normalize will be set to off because we don't want any volume adjustments in our exports. Next, let's go ahead and click export. So what Logic is going to do right here is export each track to an individual audio file. So steel drum will have its own track, clap will have its own audio file, and so on and so forth. It's not a 2-track bounce. All right, so now that Logic has completed that export, let's go ahead and hit Shift Command S and resave this session for a vocal recording session. Let's just call this vocal takes, vocal recording. All right, I'm gonna click save. Now what we're going to do here is delete all of these tracks. This is the reason why we want to create a new session. That is because we don't want to record the vocals with all of our software instruments and effects playing on the tracks. That will slow down the computer. You need more RAM and it may cause latency to the vocalists when they're recording themselves. So what I like to do is just bounce them out like we just did, import those audio files in because it's a lot less strenuous on the CPU to play an audio file than it is a software instrument with a bunch of effects. And all it has to do is focus in on those vocals. So we're going to delete all those tracks and we're going to go ahead and drag in those audio files that we've exported. So right here in our Finder window, we're going to go to Bounces. We're going to go to wherever we bounced out those tracks. Here's our stems. We're going to select all of them. I'm just going to drag it in like that. Select Create New Tracks. And here is our tracks, nice and stemmed out. Like I said earlier, each track got its own audio file. All right, so now you're pretty much ready for recording. We're going to delete the software instrument track. I'm just going to go ahead and create a audio track here and select the input that we're going to use. For this case, let's use input 2 and click create. Put this on the bottom. I usually like to keep my vocal tracks on the bottom. And I usually like to create 3 different audio tracks. One would be for the verses. I just Apple D that. And then I'm going to go ahead and call this one chorus for the choruses. And then I have one for ad-libs as well. So for the verses, I'll record them all onto here. For my choruses, I'll record it all onto that track. And for ad-libs and backgrounds, I'll record them onto that. Now with those stems that we've exported over here, you can always take those to the studio, import into Pro Tools. It doesn't have to be Logic and it'll look just like this. But if you are using Logic, you can do a step further if you wanted to and create markers for yourself so you know exactly where you are in the session at any given time. I'm gonna go ahead over here to show our global tracks. And we're gonna select marker. Hit this little plus sign and give us a marker here. And we can just go ahead and type in intro. And you can go ahead and sort of sectionalize your tracks by the different sections. So here is going to be another marker point, and we're going to call this, I think this was the verse. All right, and we're going to move along in our track. This is the chorus. Let's call this the breakdown. Let's call this the chorus. All right. And let's call this another one here, a verse 2. And then we're going to bring this out with the chorus. Now, my arrangement that we put in the remake was not really good arrangement for a record, but let's just label it what it is. All right, just like that. All right, spelled that incorrectly, but it's okay. And we can go ahead and hide our global tracks and you'll still see where each section is. So let's say the artist wants you to go to the breakdown. You could just quickly click there, hit record, and off you are to the breakdown. Visually, you have indicators right here where everything is. Now, if you find that hard to see, you can go ahead and color each one as well. So if you go ahead and bring this down over here or select this, hit colors, you can kind of go ahead and use the color pattern and color each one in. And then you can go ahead and hide that and the colors will stay in put and you'll be able to see where each section is just like that. So that is how I prep my tracks for vocal recording sessions. As I said, I like to have individual sessions for every individual step. So my recording is one session, my mixing is one session, and my mastering is another. I like to just sort of separate those out so I can see the evolution of the track. And I always have copies at every point in time for that record. If you do have a question on this, you can ask me in the comment section below. If you are new to I'm a Music Mogul and did like this video, remember thumbs up, share, and of course hit that subscribe button for more good videos like this one. I'll talk to y'all soon. Later. Peace.